George had written this and conceived this, you know, this was based on a Philip K. Dick short story, which George really blew out and expanded, and he had just put a ton of work into the screenplay and just done a great job with it. And he saw the movie, I think, and that was what, you know, that was what was compelling about it for me, was that I felt like, well, you know, who better to direct it than I mean, this is his brainchild in a lot of ways. There is this entity out there called the Adjustment Bureau, and they run very much like any bureau. You know, a lot of guys in suits and fedoras, and they're you know, they're kind of a timeless group of people who are essentially guardian angels. And their job is they've each got a plan book, and there's a master plan. There's a book with a master plan written in a language that our brains couldn't possibly comprehend. And their job is to just kind of move around the world, and if somebody's kind of going off plan a little bit, they give them a little adjustment and kind of get them back on the plan. The problem for David Norris is he doesn't know any of this, but he was only meant to meet this woman, Elise, this wonderful woman, that one time, because it's not in the plan for them to be together. But David is completely obsessed with her. She's just great, and has all of the things that, I mean, she's, you know, she's funny and she's charming, and but she's just so versatile. She can really go anywhere with, you know, and it's just, as an actor, when you're in a scene with somebody like that, you just know they're good enough for both of you in a way. And so it's just, for me, it ends up being very easy because I don't really have to do much. I can just ride on her coattails. Like, you know, she's got talent to spare. So, so I mean, it was just, yeah, one of the great actresses and great people that I've met in the business, really. He meets this woman, and she basically, I mean, he's basically in love with her after a 5-minute conversation, and she gives him the idea to kind of really be himself in this concession speech, which he does. And the concession speech is so popular that he immediately becomes the, you know, the odds-on favorite to be the next senator from the state of New York, because he just seems like such a genuine person suddenly, rather than a politically managed guy. And meanwhile, all he cares about is this woman, and who was she?
I think it must be such a brain-melting experience to come across an idea of the Adjustment Bureau, let alone to be confronted in a physical sense by this bigger force than you ever imagined. So it's remarkable that he chooses to fight that, and I think it shows great spirit of character in him, that he chooses to fight against that and not be led by that, or frightened by that, or put off by it. I think it speaks volumes about the attraction that these two people really have for each other, that he is willing to risk a lot for her. And there's something ominous about them in how human they are. You know, I think that that's hopefully what will really work with this bigger force, that we're not trying to do a very sci-fi, you know, people dressed in all-in-one black leather suits, you know. It's like, they're very real. There's something frightening in how real they are, and the power that they have in how human, normal they look. I think with ballet or certain kinds of dance, you work hard your whole life to achieve some kind of ethereal perfection, which you never can get. And I remember one of the dancers I spoke to, she was actually my double in this, and she said, you know, I really believe that everything you go through in life can come out in the way that you dance. and this kind of dance allows for that, and it's incredibly expressive and human, and so it was a wonderful experience. It allowed for mistakes, I think, but it was incredibly hard. The training was unreal. I hurt every day. Every day. I just thought, oh, thank God this man has written a feisty, strong, layered, complicated girl who can kind of hold her own, and she's tough, but she's vulnerable, and there was a lot to play with. The dialogue was great, it was witty, it was bantery between them. And I recognized it, I recognized it as how, like, people really talk, And so that jumped out at me, the relationship and the connection, and how it didn't seem contrived how they fell in love. They almost fell in love through laughing at each other, and it was that secret language. I thought he managed to capture the secret language between two people when they're in love. He's an instantly likable guy. He's sort of an impossibly awesome guy, And we hit it off instantly, and you're kind of only as good as your co-star. And so if you've got someone who's willing to play and dance with you in the scene, and it's just heaven. Like, you just want to run to work.